Hi, everybody.
Oh, what's going on, people?
First of all, happy 1st of October. Very
I
excited.
got to pay rent and shit. I don't know anything happy about that, but
My favorite month ever. So we're back and we're here to talk about whatever the fuck happened in What If this past Wednesday.
Episode 8. Give us the quick rundown, kid. What you think of the episode?
I have no words. There was a lot to process. It was a good episode. I'm almost gonna be, I'm on the edge of my seat because I don't know if this will be continued into the final episode or if that's truly where it ends. Because we've seen it where we thought like, oh, this could be another run, and then it was like, fuck you, here's a new storyline. So I don't know where it's gonna go, but it was so action packed, and there's a lot. We will unpack it shortly, but there was a lot. It was very good though. It was a very good episode. What about you, Pop?
Well, I echo all the sentiments you gave. I think it was possibly the best example of a real comic book animated story in the Marvel style. It was everything you could have wished for, and the things you didn't realize you wanted to wish for, it was shown. So now you know what else to wish for. So,
yeah,
remarkable.
Ooh, lots of the Macaulay Culkin emojis.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's just peel back that layer. All of the layers. That's my dad.
And that's my kid. And we are
Comic and Other Cons. All right. So episode 8.
Let's just cut all the horse shit and let's just get right into it. You first, kid. Get started.
Ultron apparently won. One of the first scenes is basically all of the Avengers dead. And Iron Man was the last one to die because he's trying to stop, his suit of armor from around the world.
Well, I think that's part of the reason that Ultron saved him for last, because he created him. And it was because of that quote, the suit of armor on it. So he wanted him to see everybody else get killed or defeated. And then ultimately they were all killed. But I think he wanted Stark to see it. So Ultron was incredibly cruel and sadistic when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's why they got James Spader.
It's too bad they didn't get James Spader.
I meant like Marvel, not What If.
For the Age of Ultron movie. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that happened. Then he won. He became Vision. Fucking Thanos then walks through like he's ready to take over the planet after basically Ultron launched the nukes and blew everyone up. Everyone. I mean, there were a few scattered lives, left, but Thanos walks through his little portal like he was ready, just looking for the last stone, about to snap his fingers. And literally in like 2 seconds, Vision, Ultron, whatever, just like whoosh, with the Mind Stone, just right in half. And
well, I think the difference in this Vision, like people were saying, well, why didn't Vision do that? And the other thing, I think
he wasn't
a couple of things. Vision was a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first thing. So Ultron didn't get Vision's body. So Vision was on the good side, as it were. And also, at the time of Infinity War, Vision was suffering. He was in pain from knowing what was coming. And as Thanos got closer, his headache, as it were, would worsen.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, and remember, I guess Vision wasn't necessarily thinking about killing him.
Right.
That wasn't his mission. This shall we call him Ultravision?
Okay.
His job was to kill every fucking body.
All of the bodies.
Not to stop them, but to kill them, to get rid of them. And I think
finally have peace.
Yeah, well, Thanos could have defended himself, but he didn't anticipate that happening. He couldn't have gotten that gauntlet up fast enough to close that fist to, so he wasn't prepared for that. And, he like just walked in, hey, what's up? And it was too late. So, but he fucked him up though. That was.
And then they showed him split apart like that. I was like.
But in true Marvel, not just Marvel, but in true Marvel Disney Plus fashion, it was cauterized instantly. So you didn't see any blood. You didn't see any little pieces of sinew pull apart and pop and snap. It just cauterized quickly and he just fell into two. But that was still relatively graphic because let's face it, everybody out there, tell the truth. And there's always two motherfuckers lying. We ain't talking to you two bitches. Nobody saw that happening. I mean,
nobody, Hawkeye.
Not there wasn't a fucking snap. He didn't even get to do that, and he was dead. So it's too bad Thor didn't do that. Just swing down with the axe. But Vision wasn't fucking around with this. Ultravision was not fucking around with this. Continue, child.
So we also see that Clint and Nat have survived. Clint is now the Winter Soldier. Just kidding. He just has a Winter Soldier arm.
Oh, but before you get too deep into that, let's just say that after he kills Thanos, he takes the Infinity Stones. He gives himself a cape. He raises his army. And then he goes on the spree of killing everything.
He puts on that little helmet mask thing that makes him look more like the Ultron we saw in the movie.
Correct. And of course, you can appreciate that it's just a face shield that he pulls back and then there's Vision's face under it.
He was protecting himself from COVID. He had a mask on.
Well, COVID wasn't bothering him. So
we don't know that.
It was a different kind of virus. But he goes right to my hometown and destroys Asgard first, because that would have probably been the most problematic place. If they had had a chance to get themselves together to battle him, he might have had a fight on his hands between Odin, Thor, and all of them. So he pops in, destroys Asgard first.
Destroys the car.
Destroys the Sovereign.
Right.
The car, Ego,
Xandar,
and when he destroyed Xandar, you can appreciate that he met with Captain Marvel, who gave him this is the second time they showed a lot of power for Captain Marvel. So she was the only one of all the superheroes that we're aware of that gave him a real fight.
Right.
And she fought him into the planet's core. And we all thought that she was winning. Right.
And then he supernovaed and took everything.
Old girl says from Kill Bill, you didn't think it was going to be that easy now, did you? That's essentially what, Ultravision said to her as he detonated the fucking planet and destroyed the entire solar system, as you said. I mean, he wasn't fucking around. You know how a lot of times the bad guys spend a lot of time talking and having a whole monologue?
He doesn't.
He didn't have shit to say. He just came and killed everything,
Well, he got all of his monologuing out in the movie.
He did. So,
yeah.
So back to where you were.
So we see that Clint and Nat are still alive on this post-apocalyptic world. Clint has a metal arm. We don't know what happened.
At some point, obviously, he lost his arm, probably battling
one of the Ultron bots. So they are basically just doing everything possible to survive, and they discover that they want to try to infiltrate Ultron and see if they can, kind of shut him down from the inside out. So that's when we find our friend Zola. For those of you who don't remember, Zola is the little tiny man who was working for Red Skull, and then they put his brain into the computer system in New Jersey. What trash state? In New Jersey, and at camp, the camp that Cap was basically created at. So that one was destroyed, obviously, in the movie, but there was another place where his brain was put, and that was in Russia. And basically it was there to be able to watch the Russian super soldier program, which is where Black Widow's father was trained and turned into a super soldier when from the movie.
Let me step back just a little bit.
Okay.
Just before that, it was just before that after Ultravision destroyed Xandar and all that he realized he was finished and everything was done. And then the Watcher in Watcher space was doing his usual monologue, and much like Strange Supreme, because now he has all the Infinity Stones, he can now sense the Watcher.
Right.
Again, if the Watcher had shut the fuck up, he might have been okay, but he just
if he was just watching instead of talking.
I know. So when he senses the Watcher, the Watcher's like, what the hell? And Vision, Ultravision turns around and he's like, looking to see where he can sense him at, and then Watcher from his Watcher dimension
Watchtower
shuts that down, and he realizes that he's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And he putting all his hopes in Clint and Widow. And they do their thing, fighting with the Vision bots and fucking them up, and that was some great action, by the way.
It was.
And once again, Lake Bell, look, if they make more stuff with Black Widow in it,
it needs to be voiced by Lake Bell.
It needs to be Lake Bell. And they can't just say, hey, we're gonna switch up and use Scarlett Johansson now. She wants it. No, because in my opinion, Scarlett, for whatever reason or other, you missed that train. Lake Bell is working this shit like a second job, and she's doing a great job. And I think it would be unfair to her and unfair to us, because now we've gotten used to Lake Bell doing the voice, and she's doing a really good job.
Right.
That thing with the hey, what do you want me to say? Give you a hand? I mean, come on, I won't say that. We're getting kind of rusty. So then that stuff happens. And Watcher is there when they are searching for the files, and he's like hoping, like, go look. It's right there. And
Clint's lazy ass just gave up.
Keeping to his character, he doesn't interfere to just come out and tell them it's there.
Right.
He keeps hoping and like you said, Clint lazy ass. He was right next to it. It was just great seeing the Watcher there. It's right there. It's right there.
And Clint's like, oh no, it's not. He's like, I swear, if this wasn't a Disney thing and this was like an HBO or a Netflix special, the Watcher would have been like, the fuck? It's in the box. It's in there. Just pick it up. Read. Use your eyes.
No, when Clint sat down, the Watcher would have been like, this, but
So
yeah.
Speaking of the files, so they do end up finding Zola's file in the archives, and she ends up going home to the homeland, Russia, and they find Zola, and basically they threaten that if Zola doesn't help them, that Clint's ruined many a S.H.I.E.L.D. computers. And that this was the last copy of Zola around. So if Zola wanted to survive, he needed to say yes.
You know what was really fucking funny just then in my mind? I saw you doing that. I was like, bitch, that cap's not tight, and accidentally you pour shit on that nice new Mac you got, and then that shit blows up. So I was like, don't tempt fate. Because everybody was like, hey, what happened to the video? Well, she fucked around, and so yeah. I saw that happening. I was just sitting here going, ain't this some shit? So go ahead.
So they get Zola to agree to help, and they basically download him onto one of
They fucking threatened him. They didn't get him to agree to help. He didn't have any choice.
Right.
Like,
they got him to
Nothing.
agree.
Yeah.
They got him to agree by threat or otherwise. He still said yes. And they downloaded him onto one of Hawkeye's fancy arrows. And I think the funny part here was learning Francis's part of his name in terms of Clint, Francis Barton, and something about Meemaw. And
that's from his Meemaw. Like some people say.
She was not letting him have it. She was not letting him have it.
There was a good Raiders of the Lost Ark reference in there when they were searching through all the files.
Before Captain Marvel got bloated it up, there was a Terminator reference.
Yes,
Skynet.
So a lot of Easter eggs in this to catch. And I really like the Raiders because if anybody that has seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they were in the storage facility and there's like miles and miles of shit crated up, that it was like that. So that was good. I do want to say that this was another episode in this animated series that made incredibly good use of lighting throughout. And there were some particular standout uses of light that we haven't gotten to yet, but we will.
Right.
Go on, kid.
So they got Zola on the arrow, and they, make a phone call to ask for a pizza delivery to attract the Ultron bots there. And they do successfully, download Zola into one of them, and then
they came to deliver that pizza.
Right. And then shoot his lights off. And so then they're trying to escape. They finally kind of make it halfway up. And then in a very interesting twist of fate, because this almost happened in a different universe, but it was Nat who ended up being the sacrificial lamb. What?
I was gonna say, before you get to the good juicy stuff, I'm gonna add a little filler.
Okay.
That they shot the arrow that was uploading old boy into one of the vision bots, and when another robot goes to break the arrow out of his eye, his one eye, Nat uses the shield from Red Guardian, and their goal is they have to drag that bot in and protect him to make sure that the upload is complete.
All 90 seconds.
So, and while they're in there, he says, okay, I'm here, I'm online, whatever. And of course, you see, one of the things that they had freedom with in the animated show, is things that we only wished that they had portrayed characters as. Essentially, remember, the Black Widow is an assassin. She's a killer, right? So the shit that she would be doing, she wouldn't think twice about doing it. Wouldn't feel bad about doing it. Right. And in a very mafioso fashion, she shoots his fucking legs off, right? And he's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And she's like, yeah, I just had to make sure you weren't trying to like get away. And she didn't blink.
Wait, no, that was Hawkeye. That was Hawkeye. And then he said, your team building skills are off. No, and he was like, yeah, tell HR.
But no, she shot his legs off.
Okay, I thought it was him with the arrow.
Oh, no. Hawkeye was like, the fuck? And then he was like, what the hell? So she shot his legs off. So she said, oh, that way you don't get to, just like get away. And then he tried, because he let out that burst, a communications burst, to try to shut them all down, to get in touch with them. And then they were like, what happened? Because it didn't seem to work. They still seem to be coming through. Right. And he says, I couldn't get in touch with Ultron. I don't know where he is. So
seems to be off-world.
We get to where you're about to spill that big ass cup of tea.
And so anyway, they're trying to get out, and basically they can't all make it. So Clint sacrifices himself and shoots a very explosive arrow so that way she can get out with the Ultron bot that has Zola in it.
Okay,
And it
quick.
was a very
Let's go to the Kate Bishop trailer where she's trying to get the arrow and he says, no, not that one. It's dangerous. No, that's really dangerous. He's just like, yeah. And then when she blows it, she says, you got arrows more dangerous than that? And there you go. There's the payoff.
So I appreciated the artwork in terms of the distance view of him kind of like falling
Oh, that was beautiful, wasn't it?
into the robots.
That's exactly the thing I was talking about with the lighting, the looks of the light coming down the chamber, and they slowed it and pulled back to a beautiful landscape mode. And it was just slow motion. I mean, he was barely moving as he was heading down with it. That was beautiful. That's a goddamn poster. That's a poster right there. That's how good that was.
100%.
Beautiful.
So Nat makes it out with Zola, and Zola realizes that he is not only off world, but not in this universe because he can't connect to even spread, whatever and infiltrate it. And that's when she's trying to figure out like, well, where the hell is he if he's not there? And it turns out he found the Watcher, got into his little watchtower, and they start
He did
fighting.
the doors, as the old Doors song say, break on through to the other side. So, and that's exactly what he did. And when you think about it, when you look at the Watcher's space, it looks incredibly narrow. Like it goes on forever, but it looks really narrow. Like if you put both arms out, like you could have touched both sides of that thing. That's the way it looked. It was just a really long, narrow with no end up and down horizontally or vertically and I think the payoff that they gave going forward that we'll see in a bit was as they break through the realities, I think that's the payoff when the show starts and you see the shattered pieces and the different characters flying at you. I think that's the payoff for that as they were crashing literally through realities. So it's the Marvel don't miss a chance, to do some
We
shit.
gotta give the Watcher some credit because he was putting up a decent fight for quite a bit of that.
I've been reading comic books for a long time, okay? And I have never seen the Watcher fight. You just know of he's the Watcher, right? He never had to fight, right? And everybody already knows he won't interfere. But to see the Watcher wield the power cosmic like he was doing, he put up an incredible fight with Ultravision. An incredible fight. A fight that, a fight that would have only been better, as you said, if this was on Netflix or HBO Max, and Watcher would have been talking shit. He would have been talking about his mama. It's like, come on, you punk ass bitch, or some kind of shit, But
I'm sure Jeffrey Wright would have appreciated that speech just
he
as
really
much.
would have. They let him get one hell out in there, so that's as much as he got. He got one hell.
So we went through a bunch of different realities. One that they stayed in for a little while. Apparently, Captain America becomes president. That's what was happening in the background. They ended up in like New York City, and Steve is like taking the oath of office, and you can see that on Times Square. And I was like,
that is actually referenced
or he's
from
the
a
mayor.
comic.
Oh, so he is president?
That's absolutely, yes. In a comic book, Captain America does in fact become the president of the United States. So they were picking it up everywhere.
It was so good watching them fight. So they battled through a bunch of realities, and in the end, the Watcher realizes that he won't be able to take Ultron down by himself. And
all right, let's step back for a second. The Watcher powers up and armors up. So he gets his own armor for battle while they're fighting. And not only are they, using the blast from hands and from Infinity Gems, they get, old Jack Johnson and they do some fisticuff action. So they were fighting with everything that both of them had through this. And as you mentioned, when they were crashing through the realities, they were at one particular point, and after they got to where the New York was, where Captain America was being sworn in. Oh, and the side note, the guy with the pineapple shirt on was in this reality. It was the same pineapple shirt guy that was in Vegas.
Oh.
So yeah, I caught that shirt. But in the reality, when the Watcher beats him to the ground, every time he hits him, he shatters another reality, but in the same spot.
Right. So we saw the Kree and
yeah, because sometimes it was the Kree, he crashed it and they would see it, and then Wakanda would see it, and then they knocked them back in time, and everything was like the Avengers Mansion was there, and then but it was now an old castle, just a tall castle. So he was whooping his ass through dimensions. I mean, that's how the lady said in iRobot, if I didn't need this inhaler, I'd walk up and down your ass. Well, he was walking up and down the Watcher's ass through reality. All realities saw Krillin from Dragon Ball Z get his ass beat. But yeah, it's just too bad that the Watcher didn't have more fight in him. He did a good job,
right?
But it was also again demonstrated that probably because the Watcher never had to actually battle anybody like that he wasn't prepared for that. If the Watcher had the battle instincts of Captain Marvel, he would have probably beat Ultravision, but he did not. And I think also the Watcher is thinking 2 steps ahead of Ultravision, meaning the end game, that he knew something that Ultravision doesn't know. And I think you were heading towards that. So go on.
So he knows he can't defeat him by himself. And so he disappears out of this reality. And at first we didn't see where, and Ultron keeps talking about his
huge
shit.
blinding light.
Right. Ultron's there talking his shit, and he's like, yeah, well, run. I thought he was going to start saying, like, dread it, run from it, because so I was like, damn, you killed him and you stole his line.
Yeah, well, I mean, fuck him.
So Ultron says his little spiel about how he's still going to take over now all of the multiverses and just destroy everything, because that is his purpose. And by the end, we see the Watcher is like sitting somewhere and he looks very defeated, like more emotionally defeated, in the sense of like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna fix this? I can't, I wasn't supposed to intervene and this happened, whatever. And so he's like talking to himself.
He still hasn't intervened, mind you.
No, I know, but I mean,
no.
In terms of just interacting with the other realities and like being noticed, he wasn't supposed to have that happen. So anyway, then, the guest appearance gets made at the very end where Dr. Jafar walks out and
Strange Supreme.
Right, same difference. Dr. Jafar walks out.
Patience, Iago. Patience.
And he starts talking to him and basically says, so what are you, what's up? What's happening? What are you doing? And he's basically taunts the Watcher into saying, like, I need your help. And he's like, made him kiss his ass, want me to say it? And he says, oh yeah. No, I want to hear you say, go ahead. Let me.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Yep.
And that's
Grease those lips up.
Right. And that's basically where then the episode ends, is the two of them appear to have made some sort of plan or like an alliance to be able to figure out how to defeat, which is now kind of telling for the promos that we would see where, what's his name? Doctor Strange was in the reality with Thor, Gamora, and whomever, and we couldn't
Captain
figure out how
Carter.
he got there. And now we kind of understand
Yeah.
he got out now through the Watcher being there and like asking for his help.
Right. I mean, and the other thing is that they're almost shielded, and I think that Strange Supreme has that shield around it. I don't think that Ultravision can see him.
Right.
Because for all the Watcher sees is there's a big dead void right there because Strange Supreme destroyed the entire reality.
Right. So there's nothing for him to really
universe.
go to and do.
Right. And I think, what else was fascinating is while they didn't have any end credit scene or mid credit scene, you could almost dare to look at what we did see as a mid credit, a pre credit theme scene, because it went to black after Vision was talking, and that was it. And then it took a couple seconds, and then they show the Watcher inside the thing. Like it almost looked like it was finished.
I think
like,
that was the commercial break.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, even though we didn't get the traditional end credit scenes, and I think when they do the penultimate episode to really get us rolling, they should always do a mid credit or end credit scene to really get us ready for.
But maybe their version
finale.
of it was, what if there wasn't one?
I see what you did there, and fuck you. So, but yeah, again, it was just amazing. I mean, the physical battle between the Watcher and Ultravision, whether it was fist fighting, the powers blasting each other, it was. Jack Kirby would have been proud to have seen that. It was great, man. God, it was good. And just like all of the other Marvel movies leading us up to Infinity War and Endgame, all of the what ifs have led and will all tie in and pay off in the next episode.
We hope. As long as we haven't been Russo brothered.
No, I think that they're going to give it. I believe that the episode that they said that they took out is the one that would have introduced Gamora, as well as Iron Man, I think, in the Hulkbuster armor ending up on Sakaar instead of Thor.
Oh, okay.
Because all we see of Gamora is, she's killed with the Guardians of the Galaxy on the Sovereign. But we do know from the first trailers and stuff that we've seen of the season to come is we do see Gamora in the Thanos armor and everything. And that's going to be at the end. So I think we missed the introduction to her. And I think that might have occurred in the episode that will be shown next season.
Mm.
So, and interestingly enough, they said, well, this season's 9 seasons. And then, 9 episodes, but then they said next season is also 9 episodes. So next season is actually only 8 episodes because they're moving 1 episode from season 1 into season 2. So it's
unless they've created another episode.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Season, unless it's going to be 10 episodes because they moved the 1 over, then it's really only going to be 8 episodes. Because they're moving 1 from here. So this, if everything were equal, this season would have been 10 episodes long.
Mm.
So, but I don't care. All I know is the shit was good. I was riveted. It was just, it's fucking Marvel. They're taking over the world. Y'all better hope Marvel don't invent a church, because the Pope, all y'all, Reverend Ike, you better turn the plate down and get a prayer cloth. Billy Graham, Billy Goat. Hey, howdy, y'all. Look, it's Billy. Break it up, son. All y'all, the Marvel's going to run you out of business if they create their own church. Marvel, it just dominates everything.
Amazon's
mean,
probably going to do that first.
It's incredible, man. So, well, no, Jeff Bezos was praying to somebody else, but he didn't have his own church then. But yeah, it was amazing, and I could watch it again and again. That episode, I mean, I can watch the whole season over and over, but that particular episode was just incredible. And like I said, I am thoroughly satisfied with Lake Bell
Agreed.
doing the Black Widow. And she's got that dry humor about her that you can appreciate, that you can just imagine, because she's a killer, that she has that dry humor. And sometimes it's not dry, it's very funny, but she has that dry humor. And then she goes and shoots your legs off. She don't care. She does the things that the Avengers wouldn't do because they're like the good guys. That's what Nick Fury had Hawkeye and Black Widow to go and do those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's not what heroes do. We gotta send these two motherfuckers, and the only payoff that they really missed for them in their story was there was no Budapest. Or
Maybe
Budapest.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and then they should have gone to Budapest first and then gone to Russia. That payoff of it. We keep hearing about Budapest.
Right.
But it was good, and they showed. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet you that Scarlett Johansson saw the show and goes, "God damn, this when we bring Black Widow back, because you know they're going to bring her back somehow, some way, right? I want her to be like that." Because the Black Widow done by Lake Bell on this animated show was amazing. Well, it's too bad that Black Widow wasn't a lot more like this in the Black Widow movie. It was great, man. I mean, they had good action in that, but she was working that goddamn motorcycle, wasn't she?
Yeah.
In this, I mean, it was great, man. It was fucking great. You know, the scene where the two of them are getting ready to, you know, like fuck up old Hawkeye, and here she comes in the background, sailing down on that motorcycle, reminded you of who? Captain Carter on that motorcycle.
Oh, that too.
You know, I wonder if Captain Carter is going to get a little thing for Thor, because, you know, Steve's gone. You know, she looked kind of exciting in that trailer where you see old party Thor come through the opening, and he's in that Hyundai with the hammer. She had that same look on. She had the same look in her eyes like she did when they said, "We're sending in Steve, sending in Rogers." You know,
I don't know. I wonder if Cap will make an appearance, because that last scene.
That might be the thing,
you know,
they're
clear up the
back.
ice.
Yeah, that might be the thing they're holding, because, you know, just like in the trailers, fucking Marvel, just like in the trailers for the regular movies, they edit things out so that you don't see everything.
Right.
Like when they showed the trailer and you see Nat on the motorcycle come sliding and turn around, what you don't see is the heads of the robots as she hit them, and then they go rolling right there. So they edited that part out. So they're sneaky in the goddamn animation and in real life. So we just keep getting Russo brothered by these shows, and I'm here for it. It's great. It keeps you on your toes. It give you enough stuff to see, but then you can't trust it, you know, because you're all happy, and then you go, "Well, I just saw the thing. What the hell is this?" You got Russo brothered again. So yeah, it was excellent. I mean, it was excellent. Marvel,
right? Seriously, Disney,
kid. What do you think? I mean, what are we going to give this one?
I feel like we're just going to give it, you know, steady 2 comic and other cons thumbs up.
I mean, it's too bad I don't have 2 more hands. Then I could, you know, I gotta put those thumbs up as well. I mean, this was amazing. What an amazing penultimate episode. It had everything you want, and it had you on the edge of your seat, and then it went off with a perfect setup for the finale. They haven't missed too many beats in the rhythm of this show, and
Right.
this episode they didn't really miss any real beats. So
Neither did Dr. Dre.
I see what you did there. So
I mean, that's
let's
pretty much the episode in terms of what if. It was fabulous, and I'm gonna watch it again this weekend, and I can't wait.
as will I. Do we have some show and tell, kid?
We do. Dad, why don't you start with the show and tell?
Okay. Well, as usual, I have two things this time for show and tell. So the first thing I have is, of course, a trusty watch. Oh, look at that. Yes, that's beautiful. That's Invicta, Reserve Pro Diver, Swiss made, automatic, R150 from Rhonda, sapphire crystal front and back. It's a beautiful thing. Don't leave home without it. The other thing I have for show and tell is I have an associate that I chat with online at the site that I frequent, Blu-ray.com. My daughter lovingly calls it blueballs.com. So, but on Blu-ray.com, there's a user there. My username is Soledad. There's a user there named M. Wynn, and it's Marvin Wynn, and he is the writer and creator of The Edge. This is a variant cover of the first issue. It is very good. It is very well written. It has very good artwork in it. So if you're looking for a very new thing, it is its own genre. It is not like traditional comics that you just pick up and read. It's very good, and he did a very good job with the writing this from the things that he's created. Marvin Wynn is the creator and writer, and Mark Louis, I will not attempt to pronounce that last name. It is something. He is the penciler and inker of The Edge, and it is published by Second Sight Comics. Publishing. I would tell you that if your local comic book store does not carry it, tell them that they need to pick up The Edge from Second Sight Publishing. It's a great good. I had to show my man some love, so here you go, buddy. What do you got for us today, kid?
Well, being that today is the first day of October, that means it's also the first day of Inktober.
That's right. That's right.
For those of you who don't know, Inktober happens every year, and basically it was created to help artists get comfortable drawing in various forms of ink. Originally just pen and ink, but that includes markers, ballpoint pens, things like that. Most artists learn how to draw with pencil, and you get very comfortable with it because you can erase. With pen and ink, you have to really learn how to maneuver and whatnot, because there is no erasing. And yes, there are erasable pens now, but the point is you really can't erase pen and ink. And so it helps artists to develop their skills a lot more if that's all you've got to draw with. I was an artist who started out drawing with a lot of pencil, got very comfortable with it, and pen and ink scares me. It doesn't so much anymore, but when I first did start drawing, it did. So I have a few pieces of work I'd like to share. One that is completed and one that will be completed in time for our next episode for you to be able to see. So I'll show you what it looks like now, and then I'll be able to finish it, and I'll show you what it looks like then. So the first piece of art, in honor of the movie Venom, first art share is my sketch of Venom. And I drew this with pencil, and then I inked it, and then I used alcohol-based markers to add in the color and the shading. The alcohol-based markers that I used were Ohuhu and Copic markers. This is
Let me give you that Nancy Pelosi clapping.
This is probably one of my favorite sketches that I've done, and been able to finish.
Beautiful, kid. Beautiful.
I tried to make sure I got as much detail in there as possible, especially when I was coloring over it, but definitely one of my favorite sketches. So I drew this, as I'm sure you can see, for Inktober a few years ago. So this is one of my favorite months as an artist, in general, but you can do Inktober all year. There are hashtags that people share things all year. I will share this artwork. I have an individual artist page called Late Night Creator. So I usually share all of my artwork there. I also share all of my artwork for the most part on our Instagram page, Comic and Other Cons. Feel free to like and subscribe there as well. And then this is the one that I'm working on. So I should have this done and inked over in time for our next episode. So if you want to see what the finished one looks like, gotta see the next episode. But here's what it looks like so far. Just kidding, it's not a blank page. So this is my sketch of Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider is one of my favorite comic book superheroes. And basically I created it and I surrounded him in souls, because essentially—
Hold it up higher. There you go.
Because essentially when he captures you and he stares into your eyes, he's burning holes into your soul and sending you off to hell.
Not that Care Bear stare shit.
Nope. So
you don't
this
care.
is what it looks like so far. I was able to sketch out Ghost Rider initially, and then I inked Ghost Rider. And when I kind of saw what it looked like after it was done being inked, I figured it might have needed an extra touch. So I started kind of adding in these little souls. So I'll finish developing it more officially, and then I'll ink over the souls as well. And I will share what it looks like in the next episode.
Looks great, kid. It looks great.
So more to—
At maybe some point I will show some of my artwork. I used to do a lot of drawing back in the day, and she'll probably say, "Oh, that's probably where I get it from." And I'm proud of her. She's a very good artist, and I tell her to stick with it. So perhaps that's just the impetus I needed to get me to draw a little something for show and tell here. So perhaps I will do that in the future as well. But as far as episode 8 of What If, it was another spectacular episode, and we are waiting with bated breath for the finale. I know the Colonel is going to do chicken right. So we
all 11 herbs and spices.
We will wait until next week to see how they take us out.
We're very excited. And next week, we'll also let you know what we're going to do for our next set of episodes, because we'll be coming to a close on What If. So there will be a continuance of things, and we will announce what our next set of shows to watch and or movies will be. Of course, when the Eternals comes out at the beginning of November, we'll have that. But there'll be something in between that we'll watch, and we'll let you know what it is.
Now, next episode, since apparently, unless we get Russo brother, but I don't think we will, Gamora and Party Thor will be in there. So I will do a little bit of cosplay from my Thor Brodinson outfit, just some. Like I said, it really takes, it's involved for us to get our entire outfits on. It really is. And we don't even want to talk about her because hers actually, to do that paint, it takes hours. So, but I suspect she will still do a little something. It won't necessarily be the paint, but she will have something Gamora-esque.
Yeah.
And I will have on, you can expect to see me with some beautiful blonde appendages and a winged helmet. So that's how we will take you, our loving viewers and fans, out for the season on What If.
So thanks for joining us tonight for all of the
And-
chatter and all the show and tell.
And please do not forget to what?
Like and subscribe.
Hit that notification bell.
Ding, ding.
We live for it. We live for this stuff. We love doing it.
We do.
So,
All right. Well, that's my dad.
and that's my kid. And we are
Comic and Other Cons. And we'll see you in our next episode. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Peace, bitches.